Happening now, preparations are underway to determine what's needed to continue efforts to help Jamestown's homeless as the 2 emergency shelters prepare to shut down. And we explain what's behind the bright lights spotted around parts of our region last night. Plus, read across Jamestown, we check in with local elementary schools taking part in a nationwide push to increase literacy.
Live and on demand, this is WNY News Now.
And thank you for joining us for WNY News Now. I'm Justin Gould. Those stories and more are coming up. But first, a 23-year-old man who almost struck a Jamestown police patrol car just prior to a traffic stop last year has been sentenced in connection with felony drug and weapons charges. The Chautauqua County's District Attorney's Office saying Jonathan DeJesus Godnox was sentenced Wednesday in Chautauqua County Court. He'll serve 5 concurrent sentences in state prison and 3 years of post-release supervision. Last year, the Celeron resident was busted by Jamestown police with methamphetamine, a loaded 9mm pistol, and metal knuckles. Officers pulled him over after he almost struck their patrol vehicle in the area of West 3rd and Lafayette Streets around 2 in the morning back in May of 2022. Well, with spring on the horizon and emergency shelters wrapping up operations, plans are underway here in Jamestown to continue support for those living on the street. After Code Blue funding runs out in 2 months, Jamestown's emergency homeless shelters will be forced to close. However, those on the front lines of the city's response say this is not the end of the road. Julia Gress has more.
A forum took place Wednesday to discuss needs of the homeless community. Housing was an obvious solution. One proposed idea would connect those in need with private landlords to establish more traditional housing. Plans to model parts of the Gateway Center, located at 31 Water Street, into affordable apartments is also in the works.
At the MHA, we have begun to explore what it would be like for us to continue with a space for folks who are experiencing homelessness. But for us to go forward with that would require, quite honestly, I think a substantial capital investment.
While the project is good news for the Mental Health Association, which operates the Gateway Center Emergency Shelter, it would mean the facility will need a new home. Across town, the Lovejoy Free Methodist Church also opened their doors to those in need.
To hear their story and recognize how trapped they feel. So whether it is emotional distress that they are unable to modulate, or it is practical situations like can't get a driver's license because they don't have an address.
Discussing what barriers someone faces can help expose gaps in the system that keep people trapped in homelessness. However, these are not the same for everyone.
The problem is that we are trying to apply a prescription that is one size fits all, and it doesn't fit all.
This winter's shelters provided more than just a warm place to sleep, but also a path forward.
So we identify what those goals are, our coaches. We break them down into small steps, achievable steps, and are with our participants out in the community, actually out with them, helping them to achieve those goals.
Julia Gress, WNY News Now.
Julia, thank you. Now, after the shelters opened in the winter, the Mental Health Association, they noted a 50% increase in demand for their counseling services as well. The prospective new owners of a historic Chautauqua County hotel, they've announced plans to renovate the nearly a century-and-a-half-old iconic building. Hotel Lenhart in Bemis Point is being sold to Bill and Jill, a Pennsylvania couple with decades-old experience working in the hospital industry. The 140-plus-year-old hotel is a staple here in Chautauqua County, and the Currys, they're asking for the community's help in maintaining the structure. This week, the couple presented their renovation proposal to Chautauqua County's Industrial Development Agency, seeking a $410,000 Altech loan. Now, several significant upgrades are planned, including improvements to the building's sprinkler system, fire alarms, and even stair towers. Now, a rendering of the proposed rental was also released, which highlights include a new roof patio and elevator access to it. Plans for a bakery, creamery, heated pool, and spa, they're also in the works. The total cost of the project is $9.8 million, with several grants requested to offset the funding. Well, for the first time since the pandemic, high schoolers here in Jamestown, they went back to grammar school for National Read Across America Day. The National Education Association named March 2nd Read Across America Day back in 1998. It happens to be the birthday of beloved children's author Dr. Seuss. In honor of his birthday, Jamestown High School students, they picked out their favorite Seuss book to read. Among those taking part in the district's wide reading initiative was sophomore Ashlyn Gonzalo and senior Elizabeth Loomis. The two read The Cat in the Hat and What Pets Should I Get to a group of pre-kindergartners at Love Elementary School.
Coming back to elementary school, it kind of reminds you of all the memories that you had yourself. So
I think it's a good way to connect those upper levels and those lower levels and just show more unity between the school district as a whole. And it's a core memory for me. I remember when seniors would come in and read to us, and I think it was just a really good experience.
Now, at the end of the day, the sophomore and senior, they both agree that it's important to share the joys of reading and encourage young children to make it a habit, especially in today's digital world. Well, many were perplexed Wednesday evening regarding two big bright lights in the western portion of the sky. It's not another Chinese spy balloon or aliens, it's actually planets. Venus and Jupiter, they're currently in a state of conjunction, which in this case, the two planets appear from Earth nearly to be gazing at each other. They seem very bright to anyone who maybe noticed them last night, and that's because, well, they are. Venus is the brightest planet in our solar system, with Jupiter being the second brightest. If you missed the two planets on Wednesday night, don't worry. If the weather permits, you can see them seemingly close together again Thursday night, just after the sun goes down at about 6 o'clock until about 8 o'clock. Certainly a pretty cool phenomenon there, and difficult for sure for people to be able to catch on camera. And Andrew, we even got some messages from folks, right, who were kind of curious about this themselves.
Unfortunately, you would be able to see it again tonight, but unfortunately, I think the clouds are going to win out tonight. First defense Doppler radar shows those clouds across the region, but those clouds are trying to break up across northwestern Pennsylvania, where we might get some sunshine later this afternoon. Not a lot of sunshine, but partial sunshine, but I think those clouds are going to win out, so you might not be able to see those planets tonight. You can actually see the clouds and a couple peaks of sunshine from the Randolph sky camera, those peaks of sunshine trying to peek through those clouds out there in Randolph. The almanac for yesterday, we made it to a high of 57 degrees. It felt quite nice yesterday afternoon with the sunshine. The low was 25, the record high for today 63, set back in 1991, and the record low of negative 23, set back in 1980. So for the rest of the afternoon out there, generally mostly cloudy skies. Some limited afternoon peaks of sunshine are possible with a northwest wind of 5 to 10 miles per hour, and highs for the afternoon will range from the upper 30s to the lower 40s across the region. Now we have another winter storm on the way tomorrow, but the models are all over the place. I'll give you a look at that forecast coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Andrew, certainly we'll be waiting on your clarity for that. Thank you. As we continue, the latest in a deadly Buffalo fire that claimed the life of a first responder. And later, our New York Capitol correspondent is breaking down Governor Hochul's housing compact plan and what that means for us here locally. Stay with us.
With coverage that matters. This is WNY News Now.
On this episode of Lead and Lures, pro staffer and lethal lady Caitlin Armstrong takes out her big Ohio buck. Months of hard work, dedication, and scouting have led her to this moment. You're not going to want to miss this episode of Lead and Lures on Channel 716 Roku TV. And if you want to see more of Caitlin Armstrong, follow her on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram at Caitlin Armstrong.
Land has been quite the experience.
So you think you can cook? Chefs test their skills, competing in a charity cooking show competition that features a platter of unusual ingredients, including popular local cuisine.
Davison's fish fry with some French fries.
Judged by a panel of local celebs, So You Think You Can Cook, produced by Channel 716, all proceeds raised benefit the St. Susan Center in Jamestown, New York.
EagleZip.com is your local one-stop shop for all of your home and business computer needs. Located on Fluvanna Avenue Extension, just outside of Jamestown, EagleZip.com sells and services all brands of desktops and laptops, as well as servers and network equipment for your business. All new computer sales include transferring your data from your old computer, plus a 2-year warranty. Call EagleZip.com today.
Stop by EagleZip.com today and let us make computers easy for you.
I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor.
Testicular cancer is the leading form of cancer in men aged 15 to 35.
1 in 250 men will be diagnosed with testicular cancer.
But 98% will survive if detected early.
As a survivor, I believe early detection is the key. Learn how to do a testicular self-exam and other important facts about testicular cancer at oneball4tc.com.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
3 SUNY colleges are teaming up to help workers build skills for advanced manufacturing careers. Jamestown Community College, Alfred State, and Genesee Community Colleges, they've teamed up to establish WNYWorks.org. Now, this new website is designed to attract both high school graduates and workers looking to upgrade their career paths. Faculty at each college will stay in contact with regional employers who know what exact skills are needed for graduates. The National Association of Manufacturers estimate that 2.1 million jobs will be left empty by 2030, simply waiting for qualified workers. A firefighter was killed battling a 4-alarm fire in Buffalo. Crews responded to the scene in downtown Buffalo around 10 in the morning Wednesday. Smoke and flames could be seen for several miles. In a press conference, officials said that the firefighter was accounted for, but then later in the afternoon, the city's mayor took to social media to say that one firefighter from Engine 2 was killed battling this blaze. The building involved the firehouse's a costume shop, DC Theatrics, where a local schools tend to get their costumes for plays. The business posted on their Facebook, writing that they're so devastated. Fire crews did remain on scene this morning. There's still no word on what caused that fire. Governor was in Albany Wednesday to talk about the New York Housing Compact, which is included in her budget. Our New York Capitol correspondent Elise Klein is breaking down Governor Kathy Hochul's proposals and gives us an update on what they look like now in the legislature.
While the legislature conducts one of the last budget hearings on housing today, Governor Hochul highlights the urgency of the New York Housing Compact, a plan included in her budget to address New York's housing crisis.
People deserve the dignity of a good home, and I want to make sure that they know that we're not afraid of this.
Hochul's housing compact includes $250 million in infrastructure funds and $20 million in planning funds for new housing production statewide. Hochul says planning funds are particularly important for smaller communities who don't have as many resources.
My Office of Housing and Community Renewal is going to be a partner, and I'm going to bring in the people, the resources we need to make this be successful.
Hochul's housing compact also sets a target goal of housing growth for every community in the state over the next 3 years. In the coming weeks, as she heads into budget plan negotiations, Hochul says she is optimistic the housing compact will have bipartisan support from the legislature.
And if you talk to anyone in real estate, even in small communities upstate, people are being priced out of their hometowns. So I believe that the legislators who listen to their constituents will come back here and we'll do the right thing together.
In Albany, Elise Klein, WNY News Now.
Elise, thank you. A judge says Starbucks broke federal law in pushing to stop workers from unionizing. On Wednesday, a federal judge ruled that Starbucks showed a, quote, general disregard for employees' fundamental rights, end quote, in a case involving 21 New York Starbucks locations. The coffee shop chain faced 33 labor complaints. The judge called the violations egregious and widespread. He ordered the company to give back pay and damages to workers who launched a national effort to unionize. Starbucks was also ordered to reopen its store, reinstate workers that were fired for their union activities, as well as stop photographing employees wearing union pins, prohibiting employees from talking about their wages, and promising employees increased benefits if they did not join a union. Coming up next, our Washington, D.C. correspondent with a look at the push to increase security measures at the northern border between the U.S. and Canada here in western New York. And later, a popular regional zoo they've reopened for the season. We're taking an inside look at the new exhibits that are on display this year. But first, Andrew has a full look at our weather forecast. That calm before the storm arrives tomorrow as another blast of winter weather is headed our way.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
So you think you can cook? Chefs test their skills, competing in a charity cooking show competition that features a platter of unusual ingredients, including popular local cuisine.
Davison's fish fry with some French fries.
Judged by a panel of local celebs, So You Think You Can Cook, produced by Channel 716, all proceeds raised benefit the St. Susan Center in Jamestown, New York.
WNY News Now is covering stories that matter to you.
15-year-old Yadiel Diaz was subject to a public humiliation stunt by a fellow student in an act of violence and bullying. Now Yadiel's mother, Raquel, has had enough.
Officials are trying to work with the county's homeless coalition to help support the homeless population locally. There are also plans in the works to build 2 new shelters.
WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
Slow down, and move over.
Move over.
When you see signs,
Lights,
Vests.
Please, give us some room.
slow down.
Slow down and move over.
When you need help,
It's our job
to help you.
to save you.
Despite the danger.
This danger is real. Do your part.
Please,
Slow down.
Slow down.
And move over.
move over.
With coverage that matters. This is WNY News Now.
Every day, First Defense weather.
Welcome back to WNY News Now. Currently in downtown Jamestown, we're under cloudy skies. The current temperature at the airport is 38 degrees with a west wind of 10 miles per hour and making it feel like 31 degrees out there with the wind chill. Here's what's happening across the northeast right now. We had a weak cold front move through the region last night. That brought some light precipitation last night, but that cold front has moved off to our east, and we got a weak ridge of high pressure building in through the rest of the afternoon and night, and that's going to provide mainly dry weather through the rest of the afternoon into the night and into the early portions of tomorrow before another system impacts our region. And that's what I want to talk about, the different models, because they're all over the place regarding this system. This is our in-house model, the model we usually use, and this is the model that's showing more of a cold system with this. So let's show it to you. For the rest of the afternoon out there, again, cloudy skies, maybe some partial sunshine across the southern tier of northwestern Pennsylvania. Later this afternoon, but dry weather will continue through the night and into the early half of tomorrow. And then by tomorrow afternoon around lunchtime, 1, 2 o'clock, the system will be starting to move from south to north. Now this model shows it starting off as a period of rain before changing over to mainly snow across the region and some light wintry mix of precipitation across the southern tier before changing back over to snow Friday night and into the day on Saturday. Now there are different models, and I'm going to show you a different model. This is the North American model, which takes the center of the system and moves it farther to the north, allowing for more warmer air into the system, and it's going to show you more of a rain out of the system, more of a rain and a wintry mix and maybe some light snow, but this model goes more warmer, and thus we would see less snow. And the GFS model, which is the global model, is going more of snow. So the models are still kind of all over the place regarding the exact track of the system, but new data is coming in and suggesting more of cold air getting into the system, so we would see more snow mainly across eastern portions of the area. So future snowfall totals, this runs from tomorrow through Saturday morning across the western southern tier, northwestern Pennsylvania. Not really expecting much according to this model, maybe 1 to 2 inches, and then you go farther out to the north and east and you get into more snow, maybe 3 to 4 inches across eastern Cattaraugus County and Allegheny County, where more of the snow will end up being, with more of a wintry mix and some rain across the western southern tier. So for tonight, mostly cloudy skies, a mainly quiet night overnight. East winds of 5 to 10 miles per hour. Temperatures tonight will be, lows tonight will be in the mid to upper 20s. Now, next 7 days from Ultimate Satellite Solutions, that sloppy mix of a storm arrives tomorrow. Saturday, we start off with some wet snow, but precipitation will taper off for the rest of the afternoon. High pressure begins to build in by Sunday, and that will dry us out for the rest of Sunday and into Monday, with temperatures near 40 on Sunday, low to mid 40s on Monday, and then we'll bring in another chance for some snow showers on Tuesday, with dry weather returning by Wednesday.
All right, Andrew, thank you very much. Looks like winter is back, at least for now. Anyways, well, let's get some headlines from across the nation. And President Joe Biden's administration is asking Congress to agree to pay more than $1.6 billion to help clean up the mess of fraud against the massive government coronavirus pandemic relief programs. In a strategy announced Thursday, the administration called for more money and more time to prosecute cases, to put into place new ways to prevent and identify theft, and others to help people whose identities maybe were stolen. The request would be part of the budget proposal Biden is scheduled to make on March 9th, but the bulk of it would be separate from the one-year appropriation request. Details would still need to be ironed out in Congress. Well, the northern U.S. border separating the U.S. from Canada is one of the longest international boundary lines. Just in New York and Pennsylvania alone, we have more than 500 miles of U.S.-Canada land and water boundary length. While most of the focus is on the southern border, some lawmakers believe a human and drug trafficking crisis is brewing here at the northern border. Our Washington, D.C. correspondent Rachel Knapp reports for us.
It's not the same as the southwestern border. We don't have the triangle beating up there, but we do have an incredible number of people coming through that area. And they're not only bringing with them themselves and some others, they're also bringing drugs with them, and it's an incredible assault on the northern border.
A handful of congressional members representing northern border communities, including Western New York's Representative Nick Langworthy, created the Northern Border Security Caucus, a group specifically created to focus on human and drug trafficking on the U.S.-Canada border.
Communities in my rural Western New York district, they're already struggling. They simply cannot afford this influx and the crime that comes with it.
These two charts from the Office of Field Operations, who is responsible for border security, including immigration, anti-smuggling, anti-terrorism, and more, shows the number of people who were denied entry into the U.S. or expelled to the country of last transit or home country under Title 42. On the left is FY22. The right is the current FY23 total. Comparing just the first couple of months to last fiscal years, it's safe to say numbers have skyrocketed in FY23. According to statistics by U.S. Customs and Border Protection, looking at the northern border only, CBP seized only 14 pounds of fentanyl last year compared to 22 the year before. Members are concerned dangerous drugs are slipping through our borders, causing chaos in communities.
My question is, where is the outrage? Where's the outrage, America?
At the Capitol, Rachel Knapp reporting.
Rachel, thank you. One of the first steps the new caucus took was sending the Secretary of Homeland Security a letter, giving him stats about the northern border, a human and drug trafficking, and encouraging officials to take more action to prevent it. Well, pharmaceutical company Eli Lilly is cutting the price of insulin products in a big way. Lilly's CEO announced it was capping out-of-pocket costs for the life-saving drug at $35. As of May 1st, Lilly is also reducing the list price of its non-branded insulin to $25 a vial. Right now, it's listed at $82 a vial. Eli Lilly's CEO David Ricks made the announcement Wednesday. Although insulin is relatively inexpensive to manufacture, the cost has been rising for years. The American Diabetes Association says the average price of insulin nearly tripled between 2002 and 2013. Demand has also increased as diabetes becomes the fastest growing chronic disease in the world.
This is a culmination of about 7 years of work we've been doing to reduce the price of our insulins, launching our own a generic to our own best-selling brand. But with the change last year in the Medicare Part D benefit, the senior benefit, to $35, we think that should be the new standard in America.
According to the CDC, 37 million adults in the U.S. are diabetic. Well, coming up next, the Erie Zoo, they've reopened for the 2023 season. We take a look at the exhibits on display this year.
You're watching WNY News Now, your source for breaking news.
So you think you can cook? Chefs test their skills, competing in a charity cooking show competition that features a platter of unusual ingredients, including popular local cuisine.
Davison's fish fry with some French fries.
Judged by a panel of local celebs, So You Think You Can Cook, produced by Channel 716, all proceeds raised to benefit the St. Susan Center in Jamestown, New York.
Right here, baby. Look.
Something more than a birthday is happening here. Once you can see it, you can help. The sooner you recognize the signs of autism, the sooner you can make a lifetime of difference for your child. Start by answering a few simple questions at screenforautism.org.
This week's warm weather lent itself to a nice 2023 season opening for the Erie Zoo. They welcomed dozens of guests for opening day and have been really missing out on a staple of our region. Erie News Now's Tom Kowalski has more.
While Erie may still have a bit more cold weather to deal with before spring finally sets in, for the Erie Zoo, March 1st marks the end of the winter season. The park opened its gates for the first time in 2023 to a sunny day and dozens of guests.
We love the zoo. We love that it's reopened, and it's nice to be able to be outside and enjoy just a nice warm day in Erie.
And this year, the zoo is looking forward to a few new additions to the park.
We are redoing the otter exhibit. We're adding a bathroom up at Kaboka by the rhinos. We are redoing our children's zoo bridge.
But it's more than just construction. The Erie Zoo is also welcoming in a few new animals.
We have 2 African black-footed penguins that are going to be joining our crew. In the fall came 2 new red pandas, Lucas and Micah, and they are adorable. We have some ambassador animals. We have some baby alligators. We have a screech owl who just came to us from Tamarack Wildlife Center, who was rescued.
And the zoo is also excited to welcome a few new additions to the new Hilbert primate family habitat.
We'll be announcing those species soon. They're getting settled in. You might not see them right away, but we need to make sure they're at home and nice and cozy first, and then they can't wait to meet their visitors.
The zoo hopes these new additions to the park will help them regain their accreditation from the Association of Zoos and Aquariums, which it lost in 2021 due to a lack of modern exhibits and insufficient funding resources.
We are still USDA certified, so don't worry about that. AZA is kind of just a one notch above, and that's what we're striving for. We are continuing to work towards that, and all of these construction projects continue to help us get that much closer.
Tom Kowalski, Erie News Now.
Thank you, Tom. There'll be a grand reopening event Saturday from 10 to 2 featuring free admission. My favorite animal would have to be the red pandas for sure. Well, that's going to do it for our show today. We'll leave you with this live look over downtown Jamestown. The news continues 24/7 at our website, WNYNewsNow.com, and in our free mobile app. Have a great day.